Hey, what is going on, you guys? It is Mr. No Sleep here from Old School RuneScape, and welcome to a brand new 30-hour video for you all today. So this is 30 hours of doing Wilderness Slayer. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, Mr. No Sleep, you've been in the wilderness for way too long, but you know, it's clips like the one you just watched and this clip right here that just keeps me coming back. I don't know what it is, guys. It's just something about it. You know, I've never made a good dead man mode player, and I don't think I ever will, but when it comes to being in the wilderness and taking advantage of noobs just trying to skull on you, even if it's a small team, it always makes for good content, and it's just really exciting these days for me. So I wanted to do another wilderness related thing, and I decided that why not do something that's going to lead to something bigger and better, and something that's not actually in the wilderness next time. So what I wanted to do was I go from 0 Slayer points to as much as I can in a time span of 30 hours as usual, and this took me 2 days, 15 hours each day. And the only better way to boost Slayer points is obviously doing 9 easy tasks and then 1 hard task from a different Slayer master. However, if I did that, I would not get clips like that. So that was pretty much the reason that I wanted to do this video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So as it goes for variety, I just want to say this is probably one of my most diverse videos as it goes for content. Although it all pertains to being in the wilderness, there was so many different Slayer tasks that I encountered. As you can see there, we had Revenants at the very beginning, and then we had a Callisto task just shortly after that. And there would be times where I would run into clans, and unfortunately I would skull in situations like this on accident and sometimes on purpose. But yeah, I don't know, I always had some people there, so usually I would fight back if the numbers were in my favor, and I actually didn't get smited for anything major other than a few Slayer helms towards the very end. But yeah, even with a full Varrock set and a pair of fancy boots, sometimes you just got to take the risk. And I do want to say this is by far one of the weirdest things that has ever happened to me in the wilderness. So I was at Callisto and a small team ran up, and my small team logged in to fight back, and I think we eventually cleared them, and then a few of them have died. So we came back to GDZ, and me and a friend of mine chased this one guy who apparently geared up pretty quickly. And the reason I say that is because as he died, his cash stack unfortunately fell to the ground. Wasn't much, but it was something. It was the first ever time I've ever PK'd coins in the wilderness, and he actually forgot a teleport as well. So I guess that's just a little bit of advice. If you ever die and rush back, always be safe. You don't need to rush that quickly. So 2.4 mil was a nice little 1.2 mil split for my friend there. He was asking for the ancient staff, and he did get a little bit more than he bargained for. And as it goes for PKers in general, I was really only seeing them during boss tasks such as Callisto, Scorpia, or Crazy Archaeologist. I had those tasks quite a bit. Also had a few Lava Dragon and Revenant tasks, so I did run into a few PKers there. And unexpectedly, I actually ran into some PKers at Avian Seas, which I did one Avian Sea task. Good money, but not exactly the quickest way to get points, so I pretty much just canceled them for the rest of the video after I did one of them. But yeah, most of the PKers tended to be around PKing hotspots such as those boss areas. I was very close to my first ever staff of the Dead Smite, but unfortunately the specs did not pull it off. I just can't believe how close that was. But yeah, that was right outside Crazy Archaeologist, for example. So yeah, there was a lot of occurrences of PKers, and every time I would run into one, I usually had the proper gear to fight back, and sometimes I would win, and sometimes things like this would happen. But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but I think that guy in Black D'Hide said it best, so wow. Yeah, maybe next time I will bring an anti-venom. The thing is, when I gear up to do Wilderness Slayer, I really don't think about, PKers to all of the extent. I just bring a few brews, a couple restores, super combat, range pot. Occasionally I'll bring vengeance, it just really depends on the task, but yeah, we did eventually hit her through prayer, and we did get a nice kill there, so good fight to that guy. But enough about the PKers, let's talk about the Slayer tasks that we were seeing throughout this 30 hour. Obviously some tasks were much better than others. I would say that my favorite tasks were Revenants and Lava Dragons. As it goes for the lower level tasks such as Earth Warriors or Scorpions, Spiders, Bears, things of that nature, I was getting quite a bit of Mysterious Emblems from them, and Mysterious Emblems are used to get a rune pouch on an Iron Man. That's how most people do Wilderness Slayer, to get a rune pouch on, an Iron Man build, unless you're going to leech it. But luckily for me, I was getting quite a bit of them, and sitting at 124k each doing a simple task like Ice Warriors and receiving, multiple emblems. So essentially it didn't really matter what your Slayer task was, you were almost always guaranteed profit. Even though it wasn't much, I did start up a Slayer tab at the very beginning towards the very end of the video, and it did build up to a nice amount, and you guys will definitely see the price check at the very end. And here we are back at Rebs trying for that 100 Dragon Plate Legs drop, but unfortunately we didn't receive them, but we did get an Ancient Emblem on top of a Mysterious Emblem, so it's pretty unique there. But as you can see here, the tab was coming along pretty nicely. We're currently at 8 Mysterious Emblems, and I do recommend bringing a cannon if you are able to afford one. It speeds up these tasks quite a bit, and it does cost a little bit of money, but when you're in the Revenant Cave to do these Slayer tasks such as Black Dragons or Ankus or Greater or Lesser Demons, even Hellhounds, bringing a cannon there is just so much more viable. As you can see, it's a massive open space and it's all multi. And in my experience, most of the PKers there are logging in and out at Revenants, not near any other monster, so you should be safe for the most part. Believe it or not, the only people that I was usually running into, especially at Green Dragon tasks in the Revenant caves, were Venezuelan gold farmers. Quite a bit of them down there, so that was pretty funny. But yeah, as you can see here, we had a great lava dragon task, and with a looting bag and pestle and mortar, we were maximizing profit, getting a lot of lava shards as well as a lot of black d'hide and noted bones. So having Wilderness Elite Diaries done will definitely benefit you for some tasks, especially dragon tasks. And like I mentioned before, lava dragons being a popular PKing hotspot, not as popular as they once were, but a lot of single PKers there. And I gotta say, a lot of people bring in Armadyl God Swords these days, but no one ever expects a Granite Maul. The thing with an AGS is when someone knows that you have an AGS, they're always going to keep their HP very high. But if you put on a whip, most of the time people assume that you don't have an Armadyl God Sword. So Granite Maul does really come in handy most times, and sometimes the whip combos are pretty deadly too. So that was actually 5 minutes after I had got done killing that guy. So it was definitely an exciting 10 minutes to say the least though. And with all these kills, of course, we have to showcase a few deaths. So yeah, I did die a few times by a few clans, but it wasn't really that major. You know, every time I go in the wild, usually I get smited for something big, but luckily, like I said before, that did not happen this time. I did get a few nice PKs though, as you can see there. It was a nice dark bow PK, and unfortunately dark bow's below 500k now, but it was pretty weird to see a guy using a god sword with a dark bow. But you know, you see a lot of interesting things in the wilderness. I did also have a few nice escapes, getting away from small teams or clans, you know, teleporting away once I got to 30 wilderness, but unfortunately I did not get those on video because when I'm escaping a clan, I don't have Camtasia up, so I usually can't record in time. But luckily for you guys, I did get one almost escape on clip, and I say almost because it was very, very close to getting away. As you can see here, the HP was just so low, the tanks were coming in, and the glory unfortunately was not equipped, so I did not get away, and I had to unfortunately unimbue all of my rings just so I could re-imbue my Slayer helmet to go back and continue this video. So that death did hurt a little bit. It was past 30 wilderness, so you do have to be careful. I mean, if it's not a team, it's a guy pretending to be a fucking lever, so I really don't know anymore, man. But anyway, always be on the lookout. You never know what you're gonna run into in this game. You really don't. I mean, for example, this guy dropped a Necklace of Anguish on the ground, and I guess he didn't think that I was going to pick it up, or maybe I was going to, you know, miss it in time. But unfortunately for him, we did pick up his amulet, and I made him give me a bond to get it back because, you know, I was running pretty low on membership, you know, playing on 3 accounts all the time. I always got to pay for bonds, so just kidding, I scammed him and I sold that fucking thing. No, I did not sell it. I actually ended up hopping worlds, and I did give it back to him for the fair price of a bond, and we gave that bond to a free-to-player. So I figure he paid for his mistake in a very good way. But yeah, anyway, big shout out to that guy. As it goes for the bank, I was trying to record a clip like every 4 hours just to update you guys on the emblem count and all the supplies, because, you know, every single Slayer task we were doing, we were getting at least 1 or 2 emblems, so that was definitely adding up. As you can see, the price was actually going up through the course of this video. Started at like 124k, and now it was at 132k, so that was nice to see. We also managed to get 1 Venenatus task, and we got to 1200 KC, as well as getting an elite clue scroll, so that was nice. I have a decent KC in most wilderness bosses. I just unfortunately still have not gotten a pet, so I was kind of hoping that something like that would happen through this video, but the odds of that were pretty much astronomical. Kind of like the odds of an Iron Man Dragon Claw specking you in 10 wilderness, and he says, "This is for abandoning your Iron Man content." Well, I guess I took out my anger on that mammoth with that Granite Maul spec, but I do want to mention I have an Iron Man video coming out tomorrow, and I was on my Iron Man the whole entire time doing a very, very awesome video, and that will be uploaded tomorrow night. So, fuck you and your Dragon Claw specs. So before we get into the price check here in a little bit, and you guys see all the loot that we got from 30 hours of Wilderness Slayer, I just want to say that this was by far one of my most favorite 30 hours. I can't say it was my favorite because that still stands by Revenants, but yeah, this was just so much fun. And I apologize that it took 1 week to upload this video. I actually was going with 30 hours of hunting black chinchampas, fun fact, but I got to 15 hours in, and I saw the profit, and honestly, it just wasn't worth the upload. I thought it was going to do really bad, so I just decided to scrap that idea and go with Wilderness Slayer, and I think that this was the right choice. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and a big shout out to Richard Shea. He saved my life on numerous occasions at Revenants, and he's always in the wilderness, so it's nice to have friends that PK. If you guys ever want to join my clan chat in-game, by the way, it's Mr. No Sleep, same as my username. There's always a lot of people in there chilling, doing numerous things, so just putting that out there. Another piece of advice for you guys, if you're ever doing a Slayer task around 50 wild, always bring bring a lockpick if you don't have the wilderness resource area unlocked. It's a great escape from a lot of PKers, and they never really have it with them in my experience. So I know that Iron Man can't trade, but apparently this one couldn't die either because, I don't know, my Granite Mall was just not hitting anything on this guy. Of course, we have to feature a few clans. This week we have an Australian clan, I believe. They called me a wanker before they attacked me, and then they told me that my mother attended college as I escaped, so yeah, I have no idea. And before we get into the price check, I just want to give a big shout out to this lovely gentleman, Shazam. He says, I literally just started yesterday because of your Revs video, Mr. No Sleep, and then he died, so welcome to Revs, my man. Don't worry, I die here all the time too. So yeah, big shout out to you, and thank you very much for supporting the channel. And yeah, it really does mean a lot when people say stuff like that to me in game, because it actually feels like these videos are, you know, doing something rather than just being watched. It's actually helping people get back into the game. So yeah, I really do appreciate when people say stuff like that, and I'm glad that I can help. And to wrap up this video, before we show the price check of how much money we did end up making from 30 hours of Wilderness Slayer, I just wanted to show this was the second time that I lost my imbued Slayer helm, and unfortunately I have to go do 1.2 million Nightmare Zone points to get it back. Feels bad, but that will be for 30 hours of Cerberus, which you guys will hopefully see in a few days. As it goes for the loot for this video, I just want to say that it came with a lot of resources. The Revenants, the Lava Dragons, and the Green Dragons were obviously probably the most profitable of all of the tasks that I received. The Mysterious Emblems did come out to be a decent amount of money. We did end up with 54 of them. So just from emblems, you're looking at just about 7 mil, which is a lot of money for 30 hours of Wilderness Slayer, honestly, as it goes for just one specific item. Unfortunately, no pet or visage was achieved, but we really didn't have a lot of opportunity to get either of those items, so I wasn't too upset about that. And I'd probably say the most uncommon drops that I had throughout this whole entire video would be a Dragon Spear from an Avian Sea, which we had at the very first hour, and also I would say an Ancient Emblem, which we had from a Revenant, which we sold for about 1 mil. So yeah, that was about it, as it goes for the rare items. And the best PK would have been that Smited Staff of the Dead, but other than that, it would just be a Ballista as well as a Dark Bow. So, getting into the final price check though, guys, the overall profit that I did receive from doing Wilderness Slayer for 30 hours, looking at 6.1 mil cash, and I just decided to take all the valuable items and throw it into the price check as well, came out to be about 14.6 mil. Now, obviously, this video was not for money, it was for Slayer points, and we did end up at 1,885 points from an initial start point of 0. So 1,885 Slayer points as well as 14 mil GP. Not too bad for 30 hours of Wilderness Slayer, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it, and I will see you next time, and until then, Mr. No Sleep, out.